First of all, off the bat, I'm not happy. I'm not happy, so just bear with me for 2 seconds because I'm a bit wild. I'm a bit wild at the moment in time. And what I mean by a bit wild, I'm very ticked. So first of all, the soldiers stuck in Lebanon. There's nearly 300, nearly 400 soldiers stuck in Lebanon, peacekeeping. And they were told to be coming home this week. They told that after 6 months out there, they'd be told to be coming home in 6 weeks. One woman got in touch with me, saying her child is her baby at not baby, but her child is 6 years old. You're waiting for her father to come home and you're marking off the days in the calendar, and that breaks my heart to hear that. She wants to see her father, and for her, and the mother said herself to me in a message. It's like how are you supposed to explain to your daughter that your father's not coming home for they don't even know themselves. The troops over there, she was speaking to her father by Skype, but they don't know. The soldiers don't know. And it's the thing, and this is the thing, and now listen to me, Michael E. Higgins, as Commander-in-Chief of the Army. What are you doing up in the hours in Newtown? As Commander-in-Chief of the Army, what are you doing? Sippers, you haven't opened your gob. You haven't, our men. You're men who serve under you. You're the Commander-in-Chief of the Army. What are you saying about this? There's 400 families affected. There's 2 officers stuck in the Congo. You won't open your gob. The Department of Defence will open their gob too. Why are you not opening your gob? You should be, Michael Higgins, if he was a good Commander-in-Chief of the Army, he'd be winging every family and be saying to all the young kids why their mother's not coming home, why their father's not coming home. But he won't. Why are they not? As she said, they never heard anything from the Department of Defence. They don't know. The troops over there don't know. They don't know. And I can't even imagine how that woman broke it to her daughter that her father will be coming home. And she doesn't know when. As she said, she had to say straight to her. She doesn't know when. She doesn't know when her father. He doesn't even know himself. He's over in Lebanon. He doesn't know. And we need them troops here. They're not. We need them. They want to serve their country. And it's this thing, and I say this to Michael E. Higgins, and if I ever do meet you, God help you, Michael E. Higgins, because my God, I nearly would place you as Commander-in-Chief of the Army. At least I would give a damn. At least I would take the time out as Commander-in-Chief to ring them families and say to them, look, we will do everything we can. I do everything in my power to get their men and women home. At least you could say to you, take out your, literally, take a few minutes out of your day to ring all the families and say to them, I guarantee your wife or your father and your mother be back home safely. But they won't. There's not even Boo All said, as she said to the Department of Defence, never know. They didn't even tell the troops over in Lebanon when they'll be coming home. They didn't even tell. That's a disgrace. It's just this thing, and I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with the Department of Defence and Michael E. Higgins looking down at the Irish Army. They're looking down at them, thinking they're nothing. And like these men, I don't even think they understand. These men were over there for 6 months. God knows what could happen. So many Irish soldiers died abroad in peacekeeping missions. They're doing their very best over there. They're serving their country with high distinction. And these people at the Department of Defence, they're sitting there on their keyboards, doing nothing. And the same up in the hours. Michael Higgins, I don't know, God knows what he's doing. But he has 2 roles as Commander-in-Chief of the Defence Forces. And second role is figurehead for the Irish state. Now, figurehead for the Irish state, I don't think you have to do much for that. I think you just stand there and you take a few photographs every so often. That's really it. But Commander-in-Chief of the Army, and he has a say in it. People might say the president's only a figurehead. But he can open his, the president only has to open his mouth and say, maybe we might ask the UK to bring our troops home, the Royal Air Force. Maybe they might do a favour for Ireland. And I'm sure they would. If you ask the Royal Air Force nicely, they probably would. I say they would, and I say it with any other country they probably would do nicely. But they won't. And it's a disgrace that they don't know themselves. This is the thing. And this is the thing that really wound me up. They don't even know the troops themselves. And they're more or less saying, it could be next week, it could be next month. We don't know. And that's as simple as that. They don't know themselves. I don't even think Michael Higgins even realises there's troops in other countries. It's just this kind of crack. And you can see for the last few years, these men and these women, there's so many men and women I knew who were in the army and who rejoined the army to serve their country when the country needed them, in contact tracing and things like that. And they done it. They wanted to do it. They went it straight away, because the reason why some of them left was because of the paying conditions, because they couldn't survive. They couldn't raise a family in the paying conditions of the army. And these men and these women, as soon as the country called them, they were straight away, didn't hesitate, went straight away to help their brothers and help their sisters in the army. And and you don't seem to recognise these men, that they had to leave their job, and these women. We joined the army, putting everything on hold, put the whole life on hold, going back to serve in the army, that mistreated a lot of these people. And it's not the armies, it's not the people in the army's fault, never any soldier or any sailor's fault. It's the head gaffs. It's the head gaffers in the Department of Defence. Them standing around. It's all right if they were saying it's guaranteed this day they'll be coming home. And we do everything we can. If I heard Maggie Higgins stand up in the morning and say, I'm gonna do everything I can in my power to make sure these men come home safely and come home straight as fast as they can, I'd be like fair play. Straight away I'd be like fair play, at least he's trying. But there's nothing been said. I heard the Department of Defence never said anything. The Taoiseach said a few things, but more or less he said that expendable. We can always get more soldiers. More or less saying we're not too fussed about it. That's more or less what was said, and what I took up from the Taoiseach, more or less he was like, we have enough soldiers in this country. But may I remind the Taoiseach that over the last few years it was 10,000 in the army, now it's 8,000, nearly under 7,000 active soldiers all the time. Like, that's a huge drop in the last few years. And it's no fault of the army's fault, it's no fault of the Navy or the Air Force. It's not their fault. It's really, really not their fault. They're doing their best. Every soldier is doing their country proud. And it's the state that's letting them down. It's the government who's letting them down. They're too busy gandering off, doing other things, and you're worrying about other things, and God knows what else they're doing. But they're treating their soldiers like dirt. And it might be said straight. Like, I know soldiers, and my God, they done their best serving their country. But my God, as they said to me, and even a few of them would even come on and say it straight because they were tired, because they're that thick with how the army's been handled. And how the army's been treated. They treat any army. At least they say something about Donald Trump. At least he would break his backside to get troops home out of whatever country they're in. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he has that kind of respect for his army. But, it's the uncertainty. It's the uncertainty that this woman said. It's the uncertainty. They don't know. They don't even know the troops over there. And that's saying something. That's saying something that they don't really they're not going to force themselves to try and do something, the government. And these men are needed back here, these women are needed back here. And it's them stories that she had to tell her child that she doesn't know. She doesn't know when her father will be coming home. She doesn't know. And her marking off the days of the candle and looking forward to her father and everything, making cards and everything. It tears at your heart, and really, really tears, because he's over there for the last 6 months. And I think them soldiers deserve to be brought home. Let some other country send their troops over. Ireland's 60 years peacekeeping, 61 years now. The longest probably in any other country in the world. Ireland has done more for peacekeeping than any other country, and I think we deserve to get them troops home. And to do whatever, I think the EU owes us a bit of a favour, if you ask me, for all them years of peacekeeping. And I know the Iraq is looking for planes, but we can't abandon these men. And these women over in Lebanon, over in 2 officers in the Congo. So I think, it has to be so. At least there should be some clarification. At least Michael Higgins should stand up and say, I'm doing everything I can to make sure these troops are brought home safely and as quickly as possible. But it's just the uncertainty. As he says, it just doesn't know. And it's national disgrace to leave soldiers just abandoned. And that's the way I phrase it. You abandon these soldiers. Because I'm sure if that was any other country, they'd be doing everything they can to get their soldiers home. It's just like this. And the thing is, they were over there for 6 months. There is another regiment of the Irish Army ready to replace them. And obviously I would be, I wouldn't really, if I was president, I wouldn't really send them over there now. I would wait for everything to calm down before I send any soldiers anywhere else. Because I think they're needed in Ireland more than they're needed in other countries at the moment. But please God, that we can get them home safely. Please God we can, and please God we can get them home as quick as we can. But again, I just say to the Department of Defence, the families of these men and women want clarity. They want to know exactly when they're coming home, and the troops over there want to know when they're coming home. And you standing up in Dublin, standing around the Department of Defence, and the same in the hours, used to stand around probably, God knows what she's doing, but she's not really thinking of the troops over there, thinking of their families, and thinking of their mental health. To use a whinging and quibbling and crying, the government saying, mind your mental health. Think about these poor soldiers' mental health, 6 months away from home, wanting to see their families, wanting to see their face, wanting to hold their children. Think about that. Think about that, Michael Higgins. Think about that tonight. Think about them. Think about the families that's upset at the moment that their father, their mother, the son even, won't be coming home. And they won't be coming home for God knows how long. Think about that.